started our series on Distinctively Different, and we started off with a turd story, which was really cool, you know, and throughout the week, to those that are online, thanks so much for sending me the messages of love and about my stories and about the night. So it was really cool. Last night I had the privilege of being pre-recorded, so people were messaging me last night saying, "Oh, you sound so awesome on the radio," and I'm out moving furniture with a mate because it was pre-recorded during the week, you know, and we had to fake it like it was Sunday night, you know, and on Light FM with Shaz, so it was really cool. I didn't listen to myself, you know, I figured, but thanks Paris for the, oh, that was amazing. I think Bonnie, somebody else, someone, and a couple of others, one of the guys from our business group said, you know, famous, and I said, well, it's whatever, but that was great to be in there. And one of the great parts about those sort of opportunities is when I asked, I've known Sharon for, I don't know, 30 years, and one of the interesting parts is, like, during this series, I always tell our leaders, whenever you get up to speak about something, you'll either be tested on it before, during, or after you speak about it, because it becomes a reality and a focus. And so I'm saying to Sharon, why do you want to interview me? I'm not anything, you know, I'm pretty beige, you know, and she says, not true. And then she asked me a few questions, and
you're amazing, Bill.
No.
We're so going on a date. And so I said to her, you know, like you interviewed Beck a few weeks ago, she's amazing. She's doing world-changing stuff, you know, she's going to do 777, it's all amazing. And there's a bunch of people who didn't turn up here tonight because of our message last week. Because I was trying to teach you all how to be beige last week, wasn't I? And I love you in your little unicorn onesie there, that's awesome. I think someone else was coming in did you have a rainbow onesie or something? Somebody else was coming in a rainbow onesie or something. Or rainbow pyjamas or something, I don't know. Something. No, you don't have them? Can you whistle right now?
No.
It's got a mouthful of Skittles. You know, that would be nice. So I want to share with you tonight a couple of things, and the reality is that I am provoking you to be beige. It's not necessarily what I believe, but it's what I hear. It's what I hear young people talk about, and what I see in the adult world and the young people world. It doesn't change, of people trying to settle for less. And so we started our Double D series last week. Nice. $5 to the charity. And don't put it in Skittles. You get to throw an egg. So I want to ask you a couple of questions, and so it gives you a moment to think about it. The first question is, how was your last week? Now, not like I had a sugar honey iced tea one. You know, I want to talk about whether you had what kind of week in relationship to the series that we're talking about being distinctively different or beige. And I'm going to take some notes because I'm good at taking notes. If you can't read my writing, well, it doesn't matter because I've written it, you know. And I've prepared textures earlier. Nice one, thanks for that. So, what I want to talk to you about is ask you a couple of questions. Did any of you this week just go, you know what, I'm just going to be beige?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah?
Ebony did.
Ebony said, I just want to be beige. Tell me, Eb, what does beige look like for you this last week? With a mouth, with the skills. She's got gum boots, new boots. She can't talk because she's got Skittles in her mouth. Like, is that chicken? I'm eating a chicken, we've got Skittles. Yeah, so you did beige week because you bought beige boots, you know, taupe boots. Hmm? Nice. So tell me about your beige week. How were you beige?
I did nothing. I didn't help anyone. Therefore, I was like messy stuff.
You were what? Wow.
Throw under the
Did
bus.
nothing?
What did she say?
Yeah.
Just like her sister.
Oops. See? That's what happens.
So she's like her sister. That's what she said.
Didn't help anyone.
We were roasting.
Yeah.
Therefore, she's like her sister.
Therefore, she's. No, I'm not saying that part. Because we're recording this, and that will go back and haunt you forever. Righto. Anybody else have a week where you just were trying to be beige and just thought, nah, I'm just going to be nah, you know, this last week. All right. Let me ask you another question. Did you feel at any point in the last week any kind of pressure to fit into a certain situation?
Yes.
No.
Okay. So those that said no, leave the room. No. Those of you that said yes, give me wiggle your digit at me and say, tell me why. What you experienced to fit in.
I had a lot of social events this week. So I had Year 10 social. Being school, that's a group that you have to be with. You have to wear the right stuff. You have to.
What's the right stuff?
Dresses, makeup, so and so. Do your hair, I know. And then Saturday night, I went out again for a volleyball awards night presentation thing to my club, and that was much of the same. It was very full. You had to dress up and fit in with those guys. And,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I went out the other night and it was my friend's birthday dinner and he was inviting his friends who I've never met. So I wore clothes that I would usually wear them, but I wanted to wear something different, but I didn't because I felt that they might judge me.
But we don't do that.
No, I didn't, but I was just what I was thinking.
Yeah. Look. This is a crap one. Yeah.
I put the system out.
No. Judge for what we wear. I've never had that experience. Why can I not just say something and it be true, Naomi?
I agree with that.
Getting judged for not knowing something at work. Like,
Amen, brother.
I don't know.
Now, what do you mean you got judged?
Well, like I would ask a question, and they just pull the piss out of me like it was a funny joke instead of me actually getting taught something that I don't know. It happens every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
You should change your workplace.
Oh, it happens.
Do I
every
not
day.
tell
So
you
here's an
that?
interesting thing. Every day you're in your workplace
Yeah.
and you don't know how to do something, and rather than educate you and train you and show you how to do it, people take the piss out of you because they think you're an idiot because you don't know something.
Where do you work? Name
You know, there's a phrase, and it often gets people bent out of shape. You don't know what you don't know. If you don't know something, you don't know it, do you? We've got a new guy working for us, and he is frantically trying to impress us, you know. And so Josh and I sit him down, take him outside, you know, and sit him outside and say to him, now, just calm your father. Cross your legs and namaste. Right? And he goes, you know, he's like been drinking the go juice, and he's like, he just wants to impress. And I said, yeah, but what you're doing at that rate is you're actually making more mistakes. So we're actually having to correct you more than if we could educate you. So we need you to calm your farm and slow down, because in this game, if you make a mistake, it's very costly. Because quite simply, if you're working on a caravan and you walk past the caravan and you bump the side of the caravan with something, that's $10,000 to fix. So, slow down. So I get it. So every day you're being judged. Anybody else being in the workplace found that? You know, that you think it's easier to take the mickey out of someone than it is to actually educate them? You think they're such an idiot.
Because what I've found is the fact that they don't even know themselves sometimes.
Isn't that the case? You're actually asking them, how did you do this, or how did you... They don't actually know how to teach you.
Not all the time, but
Yeah.
it does happen.
Sure. Anyone else? Yeah.
I'm a referee for volleyball, and I was repping grand finals the other week. And like, they were men's, so they're in their mid-20s, early 20s, they're testosterone filled, you know.
We are not, thank you very much.
You are so... Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so because I don't look 16, but, you know, I'm obviously the youngest ref in that joint. And they look at me like I don't know what I'm doing because I'm the youngest. But reality is I'm more qualified than most of the people in it. Like, I've done the courses, and a lot of them haven't, so...
So you know more than them?
Yeah, but I'm getting the crap for it because I'm younger.
Isn't that awesome?
Not really.
I want to grow up and be an umpire one day. Why do people mock me so much? I take it, you know, and then I get in the car back. Right? You know, so yeah, Calvin's having a sleep.
I've also
Okay.
found I'm the only female rep.
You're the only one? Okay.
So,
How many of you, here's another question for you, how many of you have ever turned up somewhere and you've walked into a party, you've walked into a place, whether it's work, school, whatever it is, and you had that awkward moment of like, when you walked in, everybody turns around,
And then ignores.
and then, well, I don't know about, well, they might ignore
And then
you.
walk.
Yeah, well, that could be true too. It's like, oh, that girl, or that guy. And then you sort of feel like self-conscious right at that point. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
No way! How can that be possible?
I never felt that.
You haven't felt self-conscious walking into a place? Really? It was only me. Self-conscious? Yeah? So only 5 people have ever felt that in the room here. Oh, there's 6. I've got 7. I'm going for 8 and 9 and 10, 11. 12, 13, 14. Oh, we're going for bidding here. Yes, bidding. Right, good job. All right. I think everybody has experienced that at some point when you're at home. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been around a lot of gals, and when they're getting dressed for something, whoo, you know, that is like, look out, tornado room, all right? That is like 50 things in the wardrobe, 50 things on the floor, in their undies. I got nothing to wear. On the floor, in the cupboard. I got nothing. Now, I know that no one here is like that. That's only the chicks I hang out with, all right? So that no one here has ever felt like that, have they, sweetheart? Yeah? No, shock. Oh, Mary, what? Yeah. Yesterday, I was at the high tea. You know, yes, it was a lovely afternoon with the ladies, you know, and as I was at the high tea, I remember in the factory I'm getting dressed and I'm thinking, oh yeah, no, I'll just go in my jeans, and then I thought, high tea,
Fancy.
fancy. That was the word. I thought, oh, awkward. What? Amy, I was going to say Mary, you know. No, you can't, you didn't, you were in a frock. Don't judge Mary. We all said we don't judge people. I just felt judgment right then. Anyway, all of a sudden I put a shirt on. I thought, oh yeah. Now, as I drifted through the dozens of shirts that I have, you know, I remember that there's this one shirt that I wear that I really love. I really love this shirt because it's like a beautiful blue colour. And why do I like wearing it? Same colours as my eyes, right? And every single time, I wear that shirt, I get a comment. Oh man, your eyes are blue.
So does that mean you wore the shirt just to get compliments?
Thank you. No. I said last week that only I do these behaviours, none of you do these behaviours at all. Who does that? Not anyone in this room. Hey? And I had nice shoes on. Yes, black patent shoes. Banging, weren't they, Mary? Yeah, so I wore this shirt because I thought it's going to make my eyes pop, and it's in a room full of women. But I was not motivated like that at all. So much judgment towards me this evening.
Because we all know you.
Hey, you do not go all blue because it's just my colour. Then
Because you wanted to stay there.
I put a jacket on and I thought, this jacket I wore was like banging. But then and then just taking a selfie, you know. So and then I'm thinking, I walked out and I just went into the bathroom and I looked like that and went, it ain't happening. Went back into my wardrobe, took out a different jacket, wore a different jacket. But none of you do that. What was I thinking?
I
can't wear that because of how I see myself and people are going to stare and say something, judge me. But that's only me.
Yeah.
That's only how I feel. I don't reckon that's how you guys go, because you guys have got this, you know. Because you're not beige. Only I'm beige, right? Have you ever been someone that you aren't? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Have you ever been somewhere or behaved in a certain way, and you sort of think to yourself, oh, you kind of get through the night, the day, the afternoon, and you realise that just isn't who you are. It's like you go away from that going, oh, thank God that's over. You ever done it? No way! What? I'm not the only one like that. Yeah? Yeah? Tell me, give me some examples. Yep.
No.
You don't want to give an example? We're on camera. I was at my mum's. No, you know.
I was Tina once.
You were yeah, but see, that's dangerous, right? Because they're identical twins, you know, and it's like, you know, yeah, that's, yeah.
An example of that could be like a new space.
Yep.
People don't actually know you, and then there's like this opportunity just to like put yourself out there in a certain way, and like then you don't have to be you, and you can kind of test the water a little bit and be like, do they like that? Do they not like that? So like when you walk into a space where people have no idea who you are, you can kind of almost be anyone that you want rather than a version of yourself.
So there's two sides to that coin, isn't there? You go there feeling self-conscious, or you can go there feeling liberated, as if you can just be anything because nobody knows you. Yeah.
How if you give your like a Starbucks or a coffee shop the wrong name?
Does it?
Oh my god, I went to Boost today.
You put an order and you're like, hi, I'm Sally. How are you?
I went to Boost today and I told them my name was Thanos.
I get Steve all the time. People call me Steve. I go, yeah, whatever. Or Bill. And I go, don't I pronounce fur rather than burr? You know, when I say fur, it doesn't sound like a burr, does it? A fur, you know, I say, oh, it's Bill. I go, oh, Bill. I go, forget it. Yeah, it's Bill.
I do.
Order a pizza. Identity crisis. Pick up for Bill. Yeah. That's who it is. Right there. Philip. You know, it ain't that. Be right.
Bill.
But you've never been someone else, have you? Anywhere you've ever gone, you've never felt the pressure to be that. Maybe some of you get so afraid of that you actually don't go out and don't go anywhere because you're afraid of maybe not being beige, maybe standing out.
I used to have two different types of friendship groups that I used to fit into, and I had to be a completely different person to achieve that. One was the cool group that I used to ride BMX with and be a bit rebellious and, you know, do more cool things. And the other friendship group was more tech savvy, play games, build computers sort of thing. So it was two completely different people. Yeah. First rule of chess club is you don't talk about chess club.
Trauma right there.
Yeah.
You know, that was rugged. You got
I used to
judged.
play in chess competition.
Yeah, chess competitions, nice. Excellent. Yeah, but see, none of you would have ever done that. I've done that, Josh. You know, so there's two of us in the room that have been that. Two different places. Now, sometimes if you are that, people will call you what?
Fake.
Two-faced, hypocrite, fake. Yeah. Now, for others, there was a guy in history who made a statement where he said, "Be all things to all people."
No.
Now, I find that really hard because I find that's like juggling balls in the air, and I'm not good at juggling, you know, and so it's not. No, you missed it. Yeah, it was Naomi. Enough said. Yeah, so juggling,
Part of juggling
those things, you know, was a challenge because all of a sudden you had to remember every time you went into that group, if you were in multiple groups, who you were and the stories that you told in that group. So it took a lot of management. But we were talking last week, and I'm pretty sure I got a resounding back from me last week, back towards me last week, saying, just be who you are. Just stand up and be an individual. I got that. a lot last week. Plenty of text messages this week from parents saying my kids are never returning to Bridgeville. Sad face, you know. Because what's our goal over this next couple of weeks? What's the goal here?
Be beige.
Be beige. My goal is to make you beige. Your goal is to what? Refuse it.
Oh, big goal. That's where we go.
Or whatever colour you want to be, you know. So here's another question for you. How many of you want to be different? Now I'm not talking about you are different, because I think you all are, but you want to be a different person. Right now where you are in your life, you think, if only.
Yes.
If only I was... Yeah, you want to share it? Want to share it?
I wish I was a little bit taller and thinner.
Amen, sister.
And because I'm a volleyball player, like I've got basically no hope to go up in the levels because I'm not as tall and as thin as the other girls are.
Yeah.
I'm short and I'm stocky and like I'm known less of a player than them, but I just don't get picked like they do because I'm not tall and thin.
That's right. I feel that pain. On the weekend, true story. Yesterday, in fact, we had a gentleman in this room come to my factory who was doing some work around my factory. And he's a Sparky. And he was dropping down some PowerPoints throughout our factory on chains. You know, those sort of dangly little things that hang there. And this individual, thanks Josh, came to me and said, talking to my Josh, he says, I was talking to your Josh about these PowerPoints and they had to be at a certain height. And I said, oh yeah, why is that? He says, so you can reach them. Oh, it didn't stop there. So, Josh number one says, can you reach this PowerPoint? Yes, I can reach it fine. Make it lower a little bit. You know? My Josh comes in and just, yeah, got it. Yeah, nice. So, the funny part is that, I feel that pain where sometimes your stature can be something that you feel so, like, what can you do? You can operate on it if you've got the coin, you know, or you can just allow yourself to be okay about being you. But I know a lot of us here say, no, I'm just okay about being me. And yet we twist ourselves out of shape every single day not to be that because of the pressure of the people around us. So being distinctively different is a hard gig, Beth.
I was just going to share something that's like almost the opposite to that, because lots of people look at being tall as like this amazingly awesome thing that everyone should be. You should stop playing with the lolly.
Sorry, I was taking an ad break.
Sugar program. I was like a shiny object there. And I was having this conversation with someone the other day because they're a lot shorter than I, and we were sort of debating the topic. And it was fascinating because I talk to a lot of people that are shorter than me about how intimidated they are by height, and that kind of irritates me that something that I would see as an asset that I have actually is not seen by like that by other people because they're intimidated by it. So something you would think would be awesome sometimes isn't even so awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just fascinating how, you know, it's like when you have curly hair, you want straight hair, and when you have straight hair, you want curly hair. It's like
you
you
want
want
big.
stuff that is the opposite, but then when we get it, we don't want it.
No, we don't. Not in this group. Last week I was absolutely convinced that this group doesn't do that. And yet on Saturday I was talking to a girl who's quite tall and she would do anything to be short. Says all of us hobbits, you know, so, you know, go to Gandalf, you know, so the reality is there is something in us that wants to fit in, and we try, and we're not happy with who we are. We're trying to define that. Now, for some of us, it's a bit of a journey. We want to try and figure out who we are. I'm not talking about that. That's a really cool process. It's like trying to walk it out, journey it through, trying to figure out, am I this or that? Am I going to do this or that? Do I want to hang out with this group or that group? And I have this idea every year that you should spring clean your friends. You should spring clean your friends. I don't mean sweep them all out the door. I mean just have a bit of a look and a bit of a sweep about who's influencing you. We always say this, and it's something I've been my mantra for my life. probably my adult life, is that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. You're the average. That means if you've got 4 people, 3, 2 or 1 person you hang out with, there's going to be stuff that you pick up from them. Would you not want it to be amazing stuff?
Yes.
How many of you hang out with people and you pick up their phrases, their mannerisms, their... But hang on, well, no you can't, no! Because this group is distinctively different. They're not beige like me, are we? What? You're beige, Mary? See, so what we said and what we desire and what we do is 3 different things. I so want to be accepted for who I am, the way I am, the way I'm wired, the way what my humour is, you know, what my mannerisms are, what I love doing. I just want to be like that. But there is so much pressure around me, us, not you, I'm talking about us and my people, to be something that we're not, and we feel the pressure and the twist to actually be something different in order to fit in and be accepted. And if we don't, we become alone. And we sit in isolation and become alone and sit there and ask the questions like, what's wrong with me? Am I good enough? Why don't people want to hang out with me? What's wrong with me? Nothing. And yet, we have this thing that wants to be distinctively different, but when we're different, we're so alienated to isolation when we want to be different. Because loving and accepting and helping people feel like they're valued and belong is a hard gig. Lavabbing people is a hard gig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when they smell. Especially when they're too tall, right? Or
Especially when
shorties.
they're fat.
Yeah, power to us. You know, so... Yeah? I've shared my story with you before. I was the shortest kid, me and John Leslie were the 2 shortest kids in Year 7, Form 1, yeah, Year 7, that's right, got that round the right way. Year 7 and the Year 12s, I was thinking the Year 6s, whatever you call that, Form 6, anyway, used to think it was funny to lock us in the rubbish bins and throw us down the bank and think that was freaking hilarious. It wasn't hilarious for us bin dwellers, you know, and I wasn't planning on being an actor at Sesame Street either, you know, so the reality is, you know, I didn't come out all Oscar and angry, but I can figure out why that prick's angry, you know, because there was some Form 6 Year 12 kid pushing him down the bank. Oh, sorry, I'm dealing with it as I work it through, you know, so the challenge is this, how many of you, this is not a hands up question just yet, live in the fear of having to fit in with somebody, a group, a friend. It could be even what you would consider your best friend. That's always a challenging thing. Whenever you say to somebody, they're my bestest best friend, you know, because what happens if you're not theirs? Isn't that a tough gig to say? One of my friends says, I say, who's your best friend? And they go, oh, I've got heaps of best friends. I said, no, you can only have one. You know, that's the rules. You know, you can only have one bestest best friend. Oh, no, I can't. But how many of us crave a best friend?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Have you got a best friend?
Huh?
Have you got a best friend?
Yes.
That guy?
Oh, you guys are so
Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Aaliyah, do you have a best friend?
How are you?
Oh, this could be awkward.
Do you have a best friend? Don't
Yes.
answer, just nod. I got it. Right, good. You're okay. Yeah. So, I have a best friend, you know, and it took me probably 25 years, 26 years to find him.
Was he young?
So I was in my mid-20s before I found a best friend, and then it was the start of a friendship with him was like, oh, well, I wonder if he could be my friend. Oh, my best friend. Didn't ever want to say that, and I would not say that when maybe another kind of best friend was around. I'd say, oh, my friend Richard, you know, and now I just think, why? I'm in love with that man. He is my best friend. He's my boyfriend. You know, he's my best friend. You know, a guy that we have been through some stuff together, both ways, and it's just kind of like, you know, the stuff with his his wife and his kids and my wife and my kids, you know, the stuff that we've journeyed through together, you just think, boy, oh boy. So I get it. I get it. And have I looked for another friend, not to replace him, a best friend? Oh, I have. Oh, yeah. Because so he lives a little way away.
Where does she live?
Sale.
You know, fun.
Vale.
You know? So the challenge for us is distance. And it doesn't make my heart wander, it makes me go fonder. You know? So the challenge for us is quite simply, we can live in fear of where we go, who we are, what we wear, how we fit in. But see, the whole point of this series is to make you distinctively different and be okay about being that. So who has a thing, a trait, a way of doing life that is distinctively different from other people and you're really okay about it? Yeah, and you're going to tell me out loud what that is. Naomi.
My guess.
Your guess. Naomi has the most amazing flatulent ability, you know. She does this little silent ones at times. It's like,
They never did.
yeah, whatever. And it's like,
Always there.
and then other times you feel like you're in an earthquake, you know. It's like, what the hell? And then she'll do that little hip lift. And I go, what? So ladylike. Huh?
My daftness.
Your daftness. I wouldn't call it daftness, naive I might call that. You know, you're not daft, you're a very intelligent lady. But yeah? Daft means I'm an idiot. You're right, so yeah.
I'm loud.
You're what?
I talk very loudly.
Yeah, just joking, yeah. Talk very loud.
Without meaning to.
Yeah.
And people are like, be quiet. I'm like, that's not me. I don't care. I'm going to be loud because that's me.
Right. Doesn't work so well in the library, don't it? Yeah.
I just go with the flow.
You go with the flow, that's cool. Rebecca?
What I wear, like my clothing, like I choose to not wear the stuff that's in fashion because I don't want to be a sheep.
A sheep. A sheepy. Just like all the other men. Yeah, nice. Okay. Choose to stand out. Yeah. What else? What else you got? Somebody else, distinctively different. What do you got? You put yourself out there. What does that mean? I haven't seen you on Tinder. I was swiping.
In other words, I'm attention seeking.
Attention seeking. You put yourself out there. Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
I love to nap.
You love to nap.
That's not different. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Distinctively different, but probably in that family. You know, it's hereditary.
She actually does.
Yeah.
Not just light because everyone else.
We had a fantastic girl in our organisation years ago. She had narcolepsy, and you'll be talking to her, she just fall asleep, boom, just like that, you know. I was in Mitre 10 with her when she was working there, and she just falls asleep in the fixture, you know, like she's like putting it away. And I go, oh, that's a bit awkward. You know? Jeez, that was really entertaining, I thought, you know. I was afraid that she was going to fall down in the paint aisle, you know. And
Wherever she works.
but she's a beautiful young lady, and she's just she's just working with it. I just think it makes her outstanding. I just think it's amazing. I love that kind of quirk stuff. Is that a hand? No? Anybody else got something distinctively different about you? Is it hard to find what's different about you?
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to help you all be babes! Because it's too hard, isn't it? It's too hard to find, forget it!
Well, it says
Stop.
already beige.
Trying to be different. It's too hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of yin and yang right there. One said no, one said yes. Is it too hard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's safer. Let me tell you, I can save you a whole lot of pain in your life. It's safer if you stay beige for the rest of your life. It's safer. No one will judge you. You won't have a lot of friends. You'll stay in isolation. It'll just be an amazing life. How amazing would that be? Isn't that just the coolest life? What's life without a little risk?
And a live one.
A safe one. A long one.
So, people say, and I'm not talking out of context yeah. I'm not a safe person to hang out with. in the sense of...
Fall off
Oh
ladder.
God, we bloody know.
Fall off ladder.
Yeah, I'll say that. That was just, I must have damaged a few of you in the room. Just a spontaneously combust. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that elevator. Taught you how to breathe in small places, didn't I? Look at the outside. We're all still breathing. And we put some pretty pictures on the wall.
Have fun, Josh.
And some of the photos are rad. I've got them there. Do you all know the story? Some of you know. 5 seconds, I'll tell you the story. Took the leaders into a safe room. We were doing safe escape.
Escape room.
Escape rooms. Not safe rooms. Yeah, not safe yet. Anyway, as we got in the lift, it said 14 people.
No, I said 9.
9. Yeah, that's what I thought it said. Dyslexic moment, you know.
We put
I said,
16
we can get
in there.
16 in here. It's bullshit, you know. So we got in this lift, and we were. My bum was getting squished in the door there, and I'm going to just work it on the other side a little bit, that side, you know. And as I was in the lift, all of a sudden the lift did this.
And then error.
Push the button. Oh, it went down all right. Below the basement floor and stopped and wouldn't open. At that point, it was not safe. Lucky people couldn't raise their arms, otherwise it would stab in the neck, you know. But we had a great moment there for about 15 minutes.
You sold a caravan?
Oh, was it 45 minutes? Oh, 15, 45, whatever. Same,
Got to about 45 degrees.
In Thailand, it's no different, you know. So,
Emergency people, just put us on hold.
yeah. And it taught people some things. So I'm not a really... Huh? And I did sell a caravan while I was in there, you know, because some guy rang me about a caravan and I sold him a caravan while we were in the midst of that, so it was yay me, you know, it was great. So, this does not talk about safe as in you're not an appropriate person or that, although sometimes I'm inappropriate, but only some. This is not talking about those kind of moral space, but safe is, I'm not that guy. Am I a good person?
Yeah.
Try to be, right? So if you want to hang out with me, I'm good, but I'm not safe. I'm going to put you on the back of my Harley. I'm going to challenge you to do stuff. I'm going to push you beyond your limits, as I have my entire life. I've pushed myself beyond my own limits at times because I believe in young people. I believe they can do more than they settle for. I believe there's more in it, regardless of what your family's told you, regardless of what your siblings have told you, regardless of what your teachers have told you. I've seen young people amazing. Isn't that right, Em? My daughter, amazing. Yeah? What else? Did you get your hand?
I can't remember.
Oh, you can't remember, it's
Some
gone.
witty comment.
So, you need to determine if you're a safe person or a good person.
Neither.
Neither. You're an unsafe bad person. Get out. You know? So guys, I want to just challenge you today. You know, last week we were talking about, and a few of you were very vocal about, you know, being distinctively different when I was challenging you to be beige. Now the reality is, there is a bunch of you sitting in this room that want new friends. You want a friend. You want different friends. You want to be accepted by people. Now, I don't know about you, but there is in certain environments that I'm in that I don't care whether people like me or not. I just don't. I'm 53 years old. I don't care whether they like me or not, you know. So, I really don't. And when I feel that pressure, there's something that rises up within me now, you know, that just says, and I just leave. I just leave environments, I just go. And people will ring me and say, where are you? I said, yeah, I wasn't digging it, I'm out. I just go, you know what? This isn't my gig, this isn't my scene, this isn't my peeps. I love hanging out with the BB crew, the leadership team, because they're amazing. We're going away this weekend for 3 days. I yearn that, froth that for the whole year, wanting to make sure that I'm hanging out with those guys for 3 days, just changing young people's lives, thinking about strategies of how we can change more young people's lives. I think it's so cool. So guys, if you want to be distinctively different, next week and the week after, I'm going to give you some tools on how to be that and how to be okay about being that. The challenge is over the next week or two is to figure out what makes you distinctively different. And that might be a really confronting moment for some of us, because it is like, well, some of us in the room will feel like we've got nothing. We've got nothing to give. We've got nothing to... Why would anybody want to like me? Why would anybody want to hang out with me? But imagine if over the next couple of weeks we could actually be one of the coolest places ever, where we just began to discover how someone's distinctively different. Now, they may not know, and they might need you to tell them. But you might need to be honest and say, look, I got nothing. I don't know why I'm different. And it's not about fitting into a mould. It's not about being beige. It's a matter of someone said to me the other day, is everybody created or made to be distinctively different? Do we think that?
Yes. Except for identical twins.
Pardon?
Except for identical.
But even identical twins are different, aren't they? Yeah. So, yeah, no, I can't. Put them together. You and your brother I can figure out. You know? So, the challenge, guys, is this. We live every single day on, when we look at our social media, when we go to school, when we're in our social settings, when we're at work, when we're at home, we sit there and experience pressure all the time to be something else than what we are. I love tattoos. Love them. Have I been accused over the years of influencing young people to get tattoos?
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course I have. I've taken young people to get their first tattoos. Over 18. That doesn't mean... does that mean I'm a bad guy?
No.
Does the tattoo matter? My dad said to me one time, one of his pearls of wisdom, you ever come home with a tattoo, I'm going to take a knife and scratch it off.
Did he do that?
Just kind of figuring out which one was kind of evil there. The guy giving me the tattoo or the guy, Dad, tearing it off. The same. But anyway, you figure that one out. So guys, imagine if, over the next 2 weeks, by being not a safe person doesn't mean that you all have to not be safe people. There are plenty of people in this room who are safe, and I need them to be that way. Because I'm not safe, I'm a risk taker. And I need that balance, that yin and yang kind of space. I need somebody to, people to say, hey, what about? It doesn't mean they don't risk, it just means they calculate a little bit more. But I go, yeah. If it doesn't kill you,
Makes you smile.
well, you just have fun doing it. You know, so this is not about giving you permission just to go and risk. This is my settling back and saying, you know what, I'm a conservative person. I don't take risk, I'm a safe person. How cool would that be, just being that? But see, what we do is we get this pressure to be this kind of bad girl or bad guy and have a story to tell rather than just being who you are. If you didn't grow up with a bad story, don't create a bad story to have one. Just be awesome at having a great story of being brought up in an amazing home with amazing parents or family and just being amazing. Because that would be distinctively different in this day and age, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to encourage you as you go into PAX, if you're going to wrestle this out, this is a safe place to do that, is to talking at PAX, why am I so different, being that vulnerable with your other girls and guys in your pack, saying, well, what makes me different? And it might be your stature, you know? It might be, but there are plenty of us. There's actually more short people in the world than tall.
Duck's disease is getting around.
But when you add them all up, we're still more.
Cut you off the leg. So, I was just going to let you go into PAX. I think we're on our time. So, guys, I want to encourage you. Beige is okay.
Yeah.
But even being a beige person, you can still be distinctively different in that space. You can still be a person that is different in that space. If you don't know what makes you different, and if you're on the journey of finding and discovering that out, then just be honest about that. I'm trying to figure me out. A friend of mine just celebrated her 60th birthday. And she said in her post on Facebook, I think I'm just starting to figure myself out at 60.
I've got plenty of time.
Yeah. That is a cool statement, Naomi. I got plenty of time.
Unless I die.
But what we have to do, guys, is quite simply this.
Marriage never care about kids.
what we have to do is we have to restrain ourselves from being judgmental. Because see, right at the start we talked about judge for what you look like, or what we wear, judge for not knowing something. Now imagine if you were the only person that people knew, that you didn't judge your friends or your people in your world for anything.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't you want to hang out with that person? Did you know when you weren't there, they weren't bagging you? Did you know that whenever you turn up, they're just loving you? Did you know that whatever mood you're in, or space you're in, or environment you're in, or financial, or whatever it is, you just know that person just loved you, just because you're you. Imagine being that kind of person. That is the kind of person I'm working on. For me, I want to be that guy. I haven't got it worked out yet, but I've worked it out more because I've just been around a little bit longer.
You still got 7 years.
Still got 7 years. Worked out. You're on point. I love you. So guys, as you go into your pack, and just realise that we don't have to figure it out tonight. There's time, right? You've got time. Breathe out, relax, it's okay, and realise that, yeah, there are going to be morons out there that'll judge you, that'll be picky, that'll be, and usually, I think someone said there before, it's usually because they're inferior in themselves. They have to make you feel small to make them feel tall. And I just want to encourage you, over the next 2 weeks, let's find out and discover how amazing you are. Every single young person who's ever come through the doors of Bridge Builders, that's how I see them. That's how this leadership team sees them. And sometimes we don't always get it right on how to help you figure that out, but I know the heart of this team is to help you figure out how to be amazing, how to feel amazing, how to live amazing. But you have to be vulnerable and be realising that I haven't got this all worked out yet, but I'm on a discovery, and I'd love to be that kind of person that could just not judge people, not be sarcastic at people, not look at them and go, oh, you know, those kind of moments, but just be a person that just loves them. Wouldn't that be an amazing person to hang out with?
Yeah.
Go and hang out with your people. Good job.
I'm on a very